As ever, the truth is finally coming out when it comes to Meghan Markle's deal with Netflix, and it appears to leave Meghan massively in the hole. These revelations come from the Daily Beast and Tom Sykes, who spoke with Matt Donnelly and revealed something incredibly crucial. It was something I had speculated about before, but did not have the full facts behind. A small, seemingly throwaway comment changes everything when it comes to the details of Harry and Meghan's Netflix deal. It may explain why they are not as financially secure as many people assume, because much of the Netflix money may be tied up in AsEver. Today, we are going to get into all of this. If you have not been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany and I provide royal commentary. Please hit the subscribe button, as I would love to have you back. Thank you so much to everyone who sent well wishes while I have been sick. You can probably still hear it a little in my voice. I do not have quite the same energy level yet, but I am on the mend and things are getting better. However, things may not be getting better for Meghan Markle. This small detail in the Daily Beast article feels like a major game changer and confirms much of what I had speculated. It is critical to understanding why I keep getting the sense that Meghan and Harry may be under financial pressure. Meghan has been appearing on smaller podcasts in Australia while they continue making what look like careless cash grabs. If they are supposedly flush with Netflix money and AsEver revenue, why are they doing this? What exactly is going on? While reading the article, Matt Donnelly made a point that seemed to confirm what I had suspected. Harry and Meghan may have earned far less from their Netflix deal than people think, and any additional cash they could generate could be tied up in AsEver inventory that is not moving. That may explain the panic and the strange direction of the brand this year. Netflix has stepped away, which changes what Meghan can do, but there is now an oddness to the products being released. Random items are appearing with no clear cohesion, and the brand no longer seems to make sense. Of course, it did not make much sense in the first place, but Netflix appeared to be guiding much of it from the beginning. With Netflix gone, the entire game has changed. The article, titled "The Secrets of Harry and Meghan's Netflix Nightmare," suggests that the brand may not have worked out. Despite claims from their office that they sold $60 million worth of jam and outsold major jam manufacturers, it is difficult to imagine Netflix would have split from them if that were truly the case. Tom Sykes said on his Royalist podcast that this is a major question, and I agree. If the business was such a huge success and generating serious cash, why would Netflix walk away? Netflix had reportedly treated this as a major exploratory venture and wanted it to work because it also needs additional income streams. Matt Donnelly appearing on Tom Sykes' podcast and doubling down on what he wrote is similar to the Hollywood Reporter article from late 2024, which described Meghan as difficult to work with and suggested Harry and Meghan struggled to make effective decisions. This all seems to align with the same overall trajectory, showing that while they may have a small group around them, there are still serious issues behind the scenes. There may be a small group of defenders who are quite loud, much like the Sussex Squad, but there are also many people in the industry who are unhappy. Some of them want it known that they are unhappy and are willing to speak to trusted reporters to share their experiences. They may not go too far or create a constant bombardment of criticism, but they are likely to speak their minds professionally. Tom Donnelly responded by saying that the situation defies common sense. And it really does. If something is generating money, a company would naturally want to keep it going. Netflix is a publicly traded company, so when it took a major gamble by investing in an experimental consumer goods venture like AsEver, it clearly expected that gamble to pay off. Ted Sarandos reportedly told Donnelly in a cover story last March that this business model was a major discovery opportunity for Netflix. Meghan should have recognized how significant it was that Netflix took such a large risk on her. But ultimately, that gamble appears not to have paid off. The next point is what changes everything. Donnelly said that, based on his sources and previous reporting, Netflix paid for everything. Netflix paid for the manufacturing, the shipping, and the branding. In other words, everything connected to AsEver was reportedly bought and paid for by Netflix.so. What does that mean for Harry and Meghan's Netflix deal? According to reports, their deal was said to be worth around $60 million, while other rumors placed the amount as high as $100 million. It raises the question of where all that money went. There have not appeared to be major renovations to their home, aside from possible repainting, flooring, or other smaller updates. The house does not seem to reflect what many would expect from Meghan's preferred style, and many Hollywood celebrities completely renovate homes after purchasing them. So why did Harry and Meghan not do the same? It also feels as though there have been continued cash grabs, while the visible spending on jewelry and other luxuries may have slowed down. This has led to more questions about what happened to the money from the Netflix deal. In my opinion, and this is still speculation, the fact that Netflix reportedly paid for manufacturing, shipping, branding, and other AsEver expenses suggests that a large portion of the deal may have been tied up in the business. If Harry and Meghan received around $60 million, it is possible that anywhere from 1/3 to 1/2 of that amount was connected to AsEver, including merchandising, branding, manufacturing, promotional materials, and inventory. Reports and estimates surrounding the amount of inventory suggested it could have been valued at more than $20 million at retail price. Even if the actual profit margin was closer to 50%, that could still mean around $10 million or more was tied up in the brand. The promotional images, website content, Instagram materials, and other brand-related elements may all have been funded by Netflix. In my view, Netflix made a major mistake by not requiring Meghan to invest more directly in her own company. If she did not feel that she had anything personally at risk, she may not have had the same incentive to make the venture succeed. That may be reflected in how the brand is now being promoted independently. Recently, Meghan posted a video on Instagram, although it became difficult to locate afterward, raising even more questions about the direction of AsEver. Wait, guys, I think the video disappeared. Did she delete it, or was it only posted as a story? I will have to show it to you another way. Also, I apologize again because my voice is almost gone, so I am playing it from my phone. Meghan Markle recently shared what can only be described as a very basic and boring explanation of how to arrange flowers in her collaboration with High Camp Gardenia. I cannot play the music from the video because of possible copyright issues, but the message was essentially, put flowers in small pots, keep them low so people can see each other across the table, and spread greenery around. There was nothing particularly groundbreaking about it. There are several problems with the video. Meghan barely looks at the camera, except for a brief moment. Connecting with the audience is one of the most basic parts of promoting a brand, especially when speaking directly to customers. She also does not provide strong examples or show what the finished table arrangement looks like. In my opinion, the flowers do not look especially impressive, and the overall presentation feels weak. The bigger issue may be that Netflix did not require Meghan to invest more directly in her own brand. Netflix reportedly designed and funded much of the operation for her, which may have been a major mistake. She needed to have real skin in the game. If she believed Netflix was paying for everything, she may not have felt personally invested enough to make the brand succeed. However, the key point is that Netflix may not have paid for these expenses separately on top of Harry and Meghan's deal. Instead, the costs for AsEver may have come out of the overall amount they were supposed to receive. This is still speculation, but if we take a conservative estimate and assume that $20 million went toward everything related to AsEver, Harry and Meghan would be left with $40 million. Then if another $10 million to $15 million or more went toward development, filming, production, and their documentary projects, the amount left would shrink even further. For example, if $20 million went into AsEver and $15 million went into production costs, that would leave around $25 million. After taxes and other expenses, the final amount could be much lower, possibly around $12 million. That would mean they made far less from the Netflix deal than many people assume. To make more money, Meghan would need to do the one thing she may not have been fully committed to in the first place: actually sell AsEver products. The potential earnings from Netflix may now be tied up in a brand that is struggling to move inventory. Netflix may have overestimated demand, especially after using a scarcity strategy at the beginning. Since Netflix does not have extensive experience in consumer brands, it may have ordered too much stock and overestimated how quickly customers would buy the products. Now there appears to be too much inventory that is not moving. Products, bundles, and seasonal items that were originally connected to Valentine's Day, Christmas, or earlier launches are reportedly still available for sale. If the inventory remains unsold, then a large portion of the money connected to the business may be trapped in products that are not generating returns. That could explain why there appears to be a sense of panic, more public appearances, and a more frantic energy around Meghan's promotion of the brand. If AsEver is not selling, then the money tied up in the brand cannot be recovered easily. When Netflix stepped away, Meghan may have realized that a large portion of the money she expected from the deal had been put into a brand she was not fully invested in. She may have cared about it to some extent, but Netflix appeared to keep the business moving forward with resources, planning, and regular product launches. There have not been any major new Marmalade releases recently, and one possible reason is that Meghan may now have to fund those products herself instead of relying on Netflix. With Netflix no longer backing the brand, Meghan may need to provide the money for new inventory, production, marketing, and other expenses. At the same time, there appears to be a large amount of existing inventory still left to sell. Based on earlier estimates, there may have been more than 500,000 individual items in stock at the beginning of January. Although the numbers may have changed since then, the central problem remains. The products do not appear to be moving quickly enough. If I were in that position, I would consider cutting losses by putting much of the remaining inventory on sale and generating cash to invest in better products. At the moment, the brand feels stale. Meghan's Instagram follower count also appears close to dropping below 880,000 again, which may reflect the fact that there is little new content or product innovation being offered. Instead, the brand seems to be repeating the same ideas. There was a relaunch of chocolates, a flower collaboration, peppermint tea, honey, and several products that do not seem to connect clearly with one another. Some people have speculated that the flower boxes did not sell out and that Meghan may not have made much money from them. Meanwhile, older promotional images and content still appear to be used, while candles and other products do not seem to be selling quickly. The brand may have reacted to reports about inventory levels by trying to create the impression that products were still selling out, but that does not appear to be reflected in the items still available for purchase. The wine, product photography, and other promotional materials may have been supplied or funded by Netflix. Since Netflix stepped away, Meghan has not appeared to refresh the brand with new photography, new marketing, or a stronger visual direction. It feels as though the brand is spinning its wheels without moving forward. Meghan may not know what to do next, and part of that may be because Netflix created much of the structure around the brand rather than requiring her to build and invest in it herself. She may not have had enough personal financial risk involved, and when the responsibility shifted fully to her, the brand may have become much harder to manage. Netflix could have required Meghan to invest a specific amount of her own money into the business from the beginning. That would have ensured that she had a stronger personal incentive to make the brand work. Instead, it appears that Netflix provided much of the capital, while Meghan may now lack the funds, time, energy, and resources needed to create and launch new products. This could explain much of what has happened with AsEver over the last few months. Meghan went all in with Netflix, and Netflix went all in with her. However, when Netflix decided to move on, it had the capital and resources to do so without major consequences. Meghan may not have the same flexibility, which could be why there are reports of attempts to expand AsEver into other markets, including Australia. However, expanding into another market does not solve the main issue. The brand still needs stronger demand, clearer products, and a stable customer base. The United States is the biggest consumer market in the world. If a brand cannot succeed in the United States, it is difficult to understand why it would succeed anywhere else. Netflix may have seen the warning signs and decided it was time to step away. Going back to the Daily Beast article, the investment in AsEver was described as massive. That makes the estimate of around $20 million to $30 million invested by Netflix into the brand seem more plausible. If that money came from the overall deal intended for Harry and Meghan, then it would mean a significant amount of their potential earnings was tied up in AsEver. If the brand was truly moving from success to success and selling record-breaking amounts of jam, then why would Netflix leave after only a year? Netflix has responsibilities to its shareholders and is expected to invest in ventures that provide value. The decision to walk away suggests that Netflix may not have seen enough value or long-term potential in AsEver. Netflix may have recognized that the brand was not working and chose to move on, while Meghan is now left trying to figure out how to make it work independently. She was happy to promote the brand, but there did not appear to be a major personal investment in the branding, products, advertising, or overall business strategy. That is now the central problem. Meghan needs to be fully invested in the brand because a portion of the money she and Harry could earn may depend on AsEver becoming successful. My suggestion would be to slash prices and clear out as much inventory as possible. The priority should be getting products out of warehouses, generating cash, and creating room for a stronger new product line. Holding on to old inventory in hopes of getting maximum prices may be hurting the business more than helping it. It may be better to keep a small amount of stock, sell off the rest, and begin planning what the next phase of the brand should look like. Point one reason there may not have been a clear new product line is that Meghan may not know what direction to take. Netflix appeared to guide much of the process and set up many elements of the brand, but it has now walked away. Meghan is on her own, which may explain the weak marketing, unclear branding, and lack of a consistent strategy. Netflix could likely have done better with the marketing and branding, but Meghan may also have limited what the company could achieve. Perhaps Netflix believed that placing the Duchess of Sussex title on products would be enough to make them sell, but that does not seem to be how the market works. Consumers are increasingly looking for authenticity, strong products, and a genuine connection to a brand. Netflix may have realized it could not keep investing time and resources into something that was not producing results. Meanwhile, Meghan may be trying smaller campaigns to offset the problem, when the brand may need a complete rethink. She may want to get as much money as possible from the existing inventory, but if products remain unsold for too long, they could lose value or expire before generating meaningful returns. This should be a lesson for companies considering partnerships with celebrities or public figures.
Completely,
if you invest in someone's brand,
will go bad.
Make sure they also have their own money and commitment.
So this is an example to
Meghan
Netflix.
may not have believed she had much at risk in the
Make sure
beginning,
they have their own money in the
but
game.
now the situation may be much harder to fix.
I don't think she cared.
Let me know what
and
you
now
think in the
it's
comments.
almost too
Thank you so
late.
much for
Know what you
watching,
think of this video.
and I will
Thank
speak
you so
to
much
you
for
again very
watching,
soon.
and I shall
Bye.
speak to you again.